Hello everyone. So here now we continue our discussion on the next topic, which is of types of majority. Now in the previous videos, the two of the videos wherein we discussed about the constitutional amendment acts, I mean the whole procedure from how the constitutional amendment bills convert into constitutional amendment acts, or the whole process, we have understood about two different types of majority, one special, one simple. Simple was in the case of states ratification. But what are the details of these kinds of majority, and are there other kinds of majority apart from this also, is very important. This topic is going to be handy for you for the remaining polity and constitution course, because there will be reference to the topic of majority at several places, but there might be some explanation somewhere. So it's better that we do it in advance, and then we'll see the details of Article 13. What is the relevance of it? As we proceed, I'll help you know with. Okay, let's first understand about the types of majorities. First, now see, there are four key terms that you have to see here. One is your absolute majority, another is your effective majority, another is your simple majority, and another is your special majority. You have talked about the simple and the special in the previous classes. So first let's focus on this only, then we'll proceed to the other ones. Let's start first with the simple majority. Now, the term majority itself tells you that there will be more than the half. That is majority. So let's say if there is, let's say there are 100 people. So more than 50, which means 51 onwards. Anything 51 onwards will be considered as majority. In a very, very general language, if we say so. That is the case with simple majority. So that is just 50 greater than 50% of members present and voting. This you have to focus. It is about the 50 जितने भी members present हैं उनमें से जितने भी vote कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, उनका 50% से ज़्यादा. So let's say, it has to be Rajya Sabha. So let's say if we talk about Rajya Sabha and the total strength being 245, but that is the total strength, like there are 245 members, but all the members will not be present every time. So let's say amongst those 245, there are 45 people who are absent. So if there are 45 people absent, what is the number of present people? That will be 245 minus 45, that gives you 200, right? So that gives you the present number to be 200. Now amongst those 200 present also, let's say 20 are not voting. These people are not voting, okay? Then 200 में से you will, because this is the present number, say you will minus 20, and the number that finally you will get is 180. So now when you have to count this greater than 50%, you have to count this on this 180 and not 245, because here we have to take the present and the voting. So present and those of the present who are voting. So 50% of 180 plus 1. So 50% of 180 would be on 90, and 90 plus 1, 91. So anything 91 or above 91, so greater than equal to 91, would be considered your simple majority in this case. Accordingly, you can fit the number. Okay. Let's now check the special majority. Now actually for special majority there is no specific definitions, because then special majority also are of different subtypes, as you can see here. 4 types of special majority हम consider करते हैं. What basically is special majority? Special majority is anything which is not simple, which is not absolute, and which is not effective. So these three has certain criteria. If they get fulfilled, they will be categorized as absolute, effective, or simple. If certain kind of majority doesn't fall in any of these, that will be called as that this is a special kind of thing. And it has no specific definition because it varies in different contexts. One context that you have already covered is your Article 368, right? The amendment procedure. So here what was the special majority that was needed? Here it was 2/3 of the members present and voting that we have seen, plus greater than 50% of total strength of house. Okay? And it was used for the constitutional amendment bills. So this is what you have already done. So you will find that familiarity with it. Another kind of special majority also is in Article 368 only, for the federal structure, for the federal clauses, wherein you needed that special majority, this one wala 2/3 and 50%. Along with it, you needed the state ratification, जहाँ पे at least half of the states को देना होगा. Now, please be very clear with this idea. When we consider this whole process, because for the constitutional amendment bills, this whole process is needed in the case of federal structure. So you need the special majority also. Along with it, you need the state ratification. So that entire will be considered as a special majority for the federal structure under Article 368. However, when the states have to ratify or pass the resolution, they just have to do it with simple majority. ये याद रखिएगा, ठीक है. This should be very very clear to you, otherwise there will be a problem. Here majority of the members of each the house has to do it by the simple majority. It just happens like a very very ordinary legislation. Let's see. So 2 kinds of special majority you have done. Let's see another kind of special majority. This article we have not yet done, but that's okay, we'll do when the topic comes. Here it is given in Article 249. What is given here? This kind of special majority is about majority of 2/3 of members present and voting. Now please notice, here also this criteria is there, but उसके साथ में ये भी है. So इन दोनों को मिला के we have a special majority in Article 368. But this one only deals with 2/3 of members present and voting. And where is it used? It is used in the case of when Rajya Sabha passes the resolution to empower the parliament to make laws in state list. This we have done earlier also, okay, and we'll do again also when we'll do the parliament topic and powers of different houses. So we'll come across the powers of Rajya Sabha. बस आपको introductory lecture में जो NCERT के मैंने chapters कराए थे legislature के, उसमें I have introduced you to this topic also. That otherwise in general the subject matters written in the state list, only the states have the power to make laws on them. And if there is emergency, that's a different case, हम उस पे नहीं जा रहे, normal situations. But there is one provision which gives Rajya Sabha the power to ask parliament or to provide that power to the parliament that you can also, despite of you being a union, you can make laws in the state list, and Rajya Sabha has to pass a resolution in that respect. That resolution, that everything is covered under Article 249, this power of Rajya Sabha, and the majority needed to pass that resolution is 2/3 of members present and voting. What is another kind of special majority? Article 61, which deals with impeachment of Indian president. मतलब इनको रिमूव करना, इंडियन प्रेसिडेंट. अब आप समझ रहे हो ना, इंडियन प्रेसिडेंट, हेड ऑफ द स्टेट. You cannot remove the president very easily like any random manner, and you cannot have a simple majority here. So definitely you will have a special kind of majority. Special majorities are needed in special cases. So जैसे राज्य सभा के केस में, this is a special case, this is an extraordinary case, that parliament is getting the power to make laws in the state list, that too on the resolution passed by Rajya Sabha itself. Then of course amendment is a matter. Again, amendment is a matter including the states. Then Indian president ka impeachment, very important matter. So here under Article 61, the kind of special majority which is needed is 2/3 of the member of total strength. Now imagine, because this is a very severe and sincere and very important matter. It is not 2/3 of members present and voting, क्योंकि present and voting में तो हमेशा number घट जाता है ना, the number gets reduced. I hope you are seeing with this example. If this is the total strength of any house, or let's say whatever is the total strength of any house, तो उसमें पहले तो कुछ लोग absent होंगे, फिर somebody will abstain from voting, they will not vote. So the effective number that you will get will be very less, right? But here it is 2/3 of member of total strength of the house and not 2/3 of member present and voting. ठीक है? So be very particular about it, about these 4 kind of special majorities. Simple we are done, special we are done. Let's see what is absolute and what is effective. Absolute means greater than 50%, मतलब more than 50% of total membership of house. ठीक है? तो अब यहाँ पर क्या है, जैसे आप देखिए टोटल मेंबरशिप ऑफ हाउस है, लेट्स से आपकी x फॉर वट एवर हाउस यू टेक, तो आपकी एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटी क्या हो जाएगी, 50% ऑफ x प्लस 1. ठीक है? अब ये कब यूज़ होता है, दिस इज़ used in a very very general situation and not as such explicitly talked about or written, which is during election for the formation of the government. Normal situations में ये form होता है. ठीक है, अब आपको यहाँ पे डिफरेंस देखना होगा. दिस इज ग्रेटर देन 50% ऑफ टोटल मेंबरशिप ऑफ हाउस. यहाँ पर जो हम बात कर रहे हैं सिंपल मेजॉरिटी में, दिस इज 50% ऑफ मेंबर्स प्रेजेंट एंड वोटिंग. सो देयरफॉर डू नॉट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड इन बोथ ऑफ दिस. ठीक है, ओके. नेक्स्ट इज योर इफेक्टिव मेजॉरिटी. इफेक्टिव का क्या मतलब है? समथिंग विच इज़ इफेक्टिव, मतलब विच इज़ एब्सोल्युटली हैपनिंग. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, it is about 50%, greater than 50% of effective strength of the house. Now what is this effective strength? Now let's see the numbers and it will be easier for you to understand. Rajya Sabha में let's say total membership कितनी है? 245 की है. But if let's say there are not all the 245 seats filled, so it will be, let's say we have a vacancy of 45. So what will be the effective strength of the house? We are not talking about the members present that day. In general, the vacancies are only not filled. ठीक है, seats are only not filled. So the effective strength will be 200. So the majority will be कि जो भी टोटल स्ट्रेंथ है उसमें से हम जो आपका टोटल मेंबरशिप है उसमें से हम वेकेंट सीट्स को हटा देंगे. ठीक है, वेकेंट सीट्स को हटा के जो आपका इफेक्टिव स्ट्रेंथ आएगा, in that you will find a majority. So what is the effective strength here? 200. So what is the half of 200? 100, and 100 plus 1 is 101. So that is greater than 50% of effective strength of the house, which means total strength minus vacancies. If in short you have to understand, it will be total strength, right, minus vacancies. Where is it used? It is used in the removal of vice president and in the removal of important dignitaries like speaker or deputy speaker, or let's say in the case of so of course that's in Lok Sabha, and जहाँ पर आप state legislative assemblies की भी बात करते हैं तो जो आपके chairperson है speaker या deputy speaker. ठीक है, removal of president के लिए क्या था? Special majority under article 61, and removal of vice president and speaker deputy speaker के लिए क्या है? Effective majority. ठीक है, जहाँ पे इफेक्टिव स्ट्रेंथ जो होगा विच इज़ टोटल स्ट्रेंथ माइनस वैकेंसीज. आई होप नाउ द मेजॉरिटीज एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट शुड बी क्लियर टू यू. लेट्स नाउ गो अहेड एंड सी. एक लास्ट सेक्शन हमारा बाकी था, that under article 368 we have seen that what are the types of amendments that can happen, and we have seen two types of possibilities are here. One by the special majority and another में special plus states का ratification needed. What provisions are included for the states? That is specifically given in the constitution under article 368, the federal structures. You have seen that. In this what we have seen? Fundamental rights, DPSPs, and anything which is not given in this one and the simple majority one. So simple majority जो है, जैसे यहाँ लिखा हुआ है that these are those provisions in the constitution which can be amended by a simple majority of the two houses, but it is outside the scope of article 368. So it is a amendment only, it is change only, but not under article 368, not under article 368. So I have taken this section from Lakshmikant. If you are making a notes, you should actually write these pointers in the notes. Right now you can just hear me out, but then from the book or from the lecture you just write this so that you have everything at one place, wherein the provisions are given which will be amended by a simple majority. तो ये क्या है ना, scattered है. This is an scattered information given in different places of the constitution. यहाँ पे तो आपको एक list है, but the topics are scattered. For example, when you will study the आर्टिकल्स 1 to 4, जब हम अभी इस वीक के एंड में उस टॉपिक को करेंगे, तो यू विल कम अक्रॉस द पॉइंटर्स लाइक एडमिशन और एस्टैब्लिशमेंट ऑफ न्यू स्टेट्स और फॉर्मेशन ऑफ न्यू स्टेट्स, ऑल्टरेशन ऑफ एरियाज, बाउंड्रीज, नेम्स ऑफ एग्जिस्टिंग स्टेट्स एक्सेट्रा. तो ये इनिशियली करेंगे, फिर ये कुछ अलग अलग टाइम पे जो टॉपिक्स आएंगे तब करेंगे. सो लेट्स क्विकली सी दैट व्हाट आर द थिंग्स विच आर लाइक कैन बी अमेंडेड बाय द सिंपल मेजॉरिटी. सो फर्स्टली आपने देख लिया, कोई भी नया स्टेट को अगर हमें यूनियन में एडमिट करना है या कोई नया स्टेट बनाना है, देन नया स्टेट जो बनाएंगे उसमें अगर हम नया स्टेट्स बनाना एंड उसके अलावा जो एग्जिस्टिंग स्टेट्स हैं उनके एरियाज़ में चेंज करना, बाउंड्रीज और नेम्स में एनी काइंड ऑफ चेंजेस, सो ये सब नॉर्मल सिंपल मेजॉरिटी से हो जाती है. देन अबॉलिशन और क्रिएशन ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल्स. ठीक है, ये भी बीच बीच में इट कम्स इन द न्यूज़, सो करंट अफेयर्स में यू विल बी एबल टू रिलेट. तो जो स्टेट्स में लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल्स हैं उनके क्रिएशन या अबॉलिशमेंट के लिए simple majority is used. Then second schedule of the constitution which deals with the emoluments, allowances, privileges etc of these bodies, and there are so many bodies, so that I have taught you. Quorum in the parliament. What is quorum? Quorum is basically about कि जब आपके पास एक minimum number of प्रेजेंस ऑफ पीपल चाहिए, अटेंडेंस चाहिए फॉर अ मीटिंग टू बिगिन, ऑफिशियल मीटिंग टू बिगिन. जैसे हमारे पार्लियामेंट में 1/10 इज़ द कोरम दैट इज़ रिक्वायर्ड. तो इतने लोग जब रहेंगे प्रेजेंट तभी फिर कोई मीटिंग जो है वो शुरू हो पाएगी. Then you have about the salaries and allowances of the members of parliament. Okay, so all of these things you are seeing that we can do in the topic of parliament. Then you have the rules of procedure in parliament. So all of these details anyways you will come across in the topic of parliament. Then privileges of the parliament, the members, committees, use of English language in parliament. Then यहाँ से अब judiciary का कुछ आ गया, तो number of puini judges in the Supreme Court, as in the judges which are not of that you would say that superior rank, rather let's say not the chief justices or the major justices. ठीक है, थोड़े inferior rank में जो judges आएंगे. कन्फर्मेंट ऑफ मोर जुरिस्डिक्शन, अगर हम बढ़ाते हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट का और दायरा. यूज़ ऑफ ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज, सिटीजनशिप acquisition and termination, elections to parliament and legislature, delimitation of constituency. This I have taught in the topic of election also. Then union territories, 5th and the 6th schedule to the constitution. So from the schedules you can remember 2nd schedule, 5th schedule and 6th schedule, right? So that requires simple. If you talk about the 7th schedule, because it includes a federal structure, it requires the special majority, but it will need the state's ratification also. Okay, I hope you are able to recall. So like these you have to remember about specific information, क्योंकि they can ask you, these are very very potential questions for prelims. And अभी तो पढ़ के it becomes easy, but then when you have to recall these at the time of the examination, it might be slight difficult for you. So kindly remember them, revise them time and again. Okay, so the types of majority and the related amendment is what we have covered. Now we have to focus on the another segment of this session was about the details of the Article 13. Why do we need to understand the details? Although it is given in fundamental rights, but I am doing it right now because as I said, आगे के topics में ये काम आएगा. Now see here, what does the Article 13 says? The Article 13 says the laws which are inconsistent with or in derogation of the fundamental rights. ठीक है, actually the whole discussion that from this lecture to till the another point till basic structure जो हम अभी करेंगे अगले 3, 4, 5 lectures में, the whole discussion will revolve around a very major question that whether a constitutional amendment act, listen to me very carefully, whether a constitutional amendment act जो हमने पढ़ लिया article 368 में will be considered void if it takes away or if it is in inconsistency with the fundamental rights which is part 3 of the constitution. तो क्वेश्चन ये हो रहा है कि क्या ऐसा कोई भी अमेंडमेंट एक्ट इफ इट इज़ नॉट इन कंसिस्टेंसी विद द फंडामेंटल राइट्स विल इट बी कंसिडर्ड एज void or not? Or in other language, the more important question here or indirect question to be remembered here is, can the fundamental rights be amended? It is the question related to the amendability of the fundamental rights, and therefore this section, this clause becomes important. ठीक है, तो इवन इफ यू डोंट डू द होल डिटेल डिस्कशन, अभी हम इसको शॉर्ट में इसको समझने की कोशिश करेंगे बिकॉज द फर्दर डिस्कशंस विल रिवॉल्व अराउंड दिस ओनली. लेट्स सी व्हाट डज इट से. सो हियर इट इज़ गिविंग यू द आइडिया अबाउट द लॉज विच आर इनकंसिस्टेंट or in derogation of the fundamental rights. Now notice why this question came when we already have an article saying that okay, there are certain laws which are inconsistent with fundamental rights, so what will happen to them? So why does this question needs to be answered जब है ही एक ऐसा article? Let's see wordings of this article. Clause 1 says all laws, ठीक है, in force in the territory of India immediately before the commencement of the constitution, in so far as they are inconsistent with the provision of this part, shall to the extent of that inconsistency be void. You might face problem in understanding this, but do not worry. Let's focus on each and every keyword आराम से. Okay, it says that every law, because it is talking about all laws, each and every law which came into force in the territory of India immediately before the commencement of the constitution. Constitution commence कब हुआ आपको डेट पता है? उससे बिल्कुल पहले कोई भी लॉ, देयर वर लॉज इन इंडिया बिफोर दैट ऑल्सो, ठीक है, बट फंडामेंटल राइट्स और ये सब जो है ये तो कॉमेंसमेंट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के बाद हमारे पास आया है. सो एनी लॉ विच वॉज प्रेजेंट इन इंडिया बिफोर वी हैड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, if they have certain provisions and those provisions are inconsistent with present day fundamental rights, then they will be void. But the term they are using is to the extent of such inconsistency. What, and this term you will come across at several places, ठीक है, जैसे यहाँ पर भी है, आगे भी आएगा, which means that let's say there is a law, on any matter, it will not only have one provision but it will have many provisions. Let's say it is having these provisions, but let's say उसमें ये जो provision है, let's say ये first second था, ठीक है, so first provision, second, so let's say third provision onwards, all of these provisions are not in consistency with fundamental rights, but this initial provision and the later provisions are in consistency to the fundamental rights. So what this article says, or this clause says, that only those provisions which are not consistent with the fundamental rights, only they will be void. So it will be void to that extent only, which means only those provisions will be considered as void which are not in consistency with the fundamental rights. It's not important that we will abolish the whole law, or we will repeal the whole law. No, we will not repeal the whole law. We will only repeal those provisions from that law which are not consistent with the rights. This is the idea. But for us, for this section that we are covering, हमारे लिए जो important है ना वो, that is clause 2. Clause 2 कह रहा है the state shall not. Now here the state means, see in 12 they have given you the definition for state also. So here state would mean your government, your Parliament of India, state legislature, government of states and other local authorities also. Anything and everything which is related to the government comes under state here. ठीक है, उसकी detail हम fundamental rights में पढ़ेंगे. So अभी के लिए just understand the term state is very broad here. So the state shall not make any law which takes away or abridges the rights conferred by this part. This part means part 3, which means fundamental right. So we can shorten this statement that state के पास कोई अधिकार नहीं है ऐसा law बनाने का which will take the fundamental right, and any law made in contravention of this clause. So any law if you are making which is in contravention मतलब which is in opposition to this clause will be considered void to that extent. जिस हद तक आपके law में गड़बड़ी दिखेगी that it is in inconsistency with this clause, वो void हो जाएगा. Now the question is कि यहाँ पे इन्होंने clarify कर दिया है in the next clause that laws, ये जो term है law, it will include ordinance, order, bylaw, rule, regulation, notification, custom or any usage. Now what are all these, हम बाद में इस पे बात करेंगे. Just understand how broad these terms are. Law के लिए बता दिया, law in force के लिए बता दिया that it includes the laws passed or made by a legislature or any other competent authority before commencement of constitution, जो अभी तक repeal नहीं हुआ था, ठीक है. And अगर हम आगे भी देखते हैं, notwithstanding that any such law or part may not then be in operation either at all or in particular areas. अगर हमें लगता है if it is inconsistent, it will not be in operation. Then ये बाद में amendment से आया है, इस पे भी अभी बाद में आएंगे, ठीक है. This we will come across. ये actually 1971 में, I told you about 24th Amendment Act if you remember in the last class. इसकी significance है, जब हम गोलकनाथ केस करेंगे तो we will read about the significance. Nothing in this article is 13 shall apply to any amendment of constitution made under article 368. But ये तो बाद में insert किया गया, तो forget about this for the time being. Now seeing here, you see this statement, why was the whole confusion? This statement is giving you the description of the word law or the possible explanations. It is giving you ordinance, order, bylaw, etc, etc, etc. But it is nowhere clarifying whether a constitutional amendment act is also counted in this law or not. Now somebody might, and this has happened, some people have argued that a constitutional amendment act is also a law only because it has followed that whole process. बिल से ही तो law बना है ना, या act बनता है, तो ये process तो हुआ ही है, so that is also counted in law. But some people say that there is nothing specific, when we have a separate article for that and there is no separate mention of this law here, the Constitutional Amendment Act is not included in this law. These two debates were there. So that is the whole idea. Now I have just given you the explanation for 13. How it is related to this topic, वो तो हम अगले class में करेंगे. But for the time being, this is what you have to understand. This is what you have to remember, that where was the question lying? Where was the issue lying? Now if you have understood that what is the problem in the wordings here, forget about this now because it was added after amendment and this had a context. Forget about this, but अभी जो ओरिजिनल में लिखा गया था वो समझिए, ठीक है, कि लॉ के लिए इन्होंने लिख दिया है कि एनी लॉ विच इज़ इनकन्सिस्टेंट विथ फंडामेंटल राइट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज वाइड, वेरी क्लियर. एंड देन ऑल्सो क्लियरली रिटन कि लॉ में ये चीज़ें इंक्लूडेड हैं. बट बाद में क्वेश्चन आया कि क्या कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट इफ़ इट टेक्स अवे फंडामेंटल राइट कैन इट ऑल्सो बी कंसिडर्ड एज वाइड, क्योंकि लॉजिकली तो होना चाहिए. बट whether this constitutional amendment act is included in this term law or not is not clear. So that followed in the further judgments, that we will try to see the relation. What is the relation between Article 13 and Article 368? How can we relate? Because these are some complex topics which are given elsewhere, I mean at different places in your topics. So once you finish it now, it becomes very easy to relate it to the further chapter. So let's meet in the next video and we'll try to discuss about the details that we have covered. Thank you so much guys. Take care till then. Bye bye.